Good afternoon to everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar on artificial intelligence in higher education, trends, opportunities, and challenges, organized by Confederation of Indian Private Universities. CIPU is a not-for-profit and membership-driven organization that represents and acts as the voice of the Indian private universities at the international and national forums, with a vision to make India as the Vishwaguru. Conceptualized by academic thought leader Sri Rahul Kara, Executive President of MIT World Peace University, in collaboration with several American and Indian higher education leaders. CIPU emerged as an outcome of several rounds of discussions and brainstorming with stakeholders in the higher education ecosystem. So this took the shape of the first formal dialogue in 2022, and more than 25 American and 30 Indian thought leaders met in Washington, D.C. So building on the successful deliberations in Washington, so more than 70 leading Indian private universities met in Pune in January 2023 to take forward the mission. So the Confederation serves as a unifying force, providing a platform for members to exchange ideas, share best practices, and collectively address challenges facing the higher education landscape. It also provides a platform for consensus building and networking on key issues. So as we stand at the forefront of a technological revolution, artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming the landscape of education, bringing with it both unprecedented opportunities and complex challenges. And today's discussion brings together visionary leaders and experts who are shaping the future of higher education. So without much ado, let me introduce the session chairman and the distinguished panelists for the day. Let me start with Professor Dr. Sandeep Sancheti. Dr. Sandeep Sancheti is an institution builder, policy planner, regular columnist on various academic policies. He holds a PhD from Queen's University of Belfast, UK, MSc from DTU Delhi, and BTech from NIT Warangal. He is currently the Vice President, Research Relations and Academic Affairs, Elsevier, India. He is also serving or served many professional bodies like CII, FICCI, in NARC, CSIR, DRDO, and many more in different capacities. And he was a member of the Court and Council of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, as well as many other academic institutions. In addition, and he was on various national level bodies of UGC, AICTE, Association of Indian Universities for education related matters, and has been a part of the Indian delegations abroad. Formerly, Dr. Sancheti headed 7 National Institute of Technologies like NIT Surathkal, NIT Trichy, NIT Calicut, and even School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi, as a director. He has also led self-financed institutions like Manipal University, Jaipur, SRM University, Chennai, and Marwadi University in Rajkot. He is a recipient of the Commonwealth Scholarship and Fellowship under Colombo Plan, and was a visiting faculty at Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok. He is the past president of the Association of Indian Universities, New Delhi, and Executive Council member of the Association of Commonwealth Universities, London. A warm welcome to Dr. Sandeep Sancheti. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to moderate this session.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you. And moving on to the panelists, Professor Dr. Kyriakos. So he has a PhD in European Integration and International Relations awarded by Newcastle University, whereas he also holds an MA in Diplomacy awarded by Lancaster University, UK, a certificate in Linguistics awarded by Bangor University, UK, and a BA in English Literature and Linguistics awarded by Aristotle University in Greece. So Professor Kyriakos has worked in various research groups. He's an accomplished researcher in various variety of disciplines. And in the last 20 years, he has taught in many universities and educational organizations globally, among which Newcastle University, University of Sunderland, Derry College, University of Indianapolis, Hellenic Air Force War College, and Hellenic Naval War College, to name a few. He is an expert in developing new curricula, program syllabi, and also in building new global educational networks and partnerships, as he has already done with institutions from the US, UK, France, Italy, Switzerland, and Ireland, but also Singapore, India, and Somalia. And Professor Kyriakos has published 12 books and dozens of original scientific articles. His track record of academic publishing is composed of a variety of papers concerning political, economic, and educational issues. Warm welcome to Professor Kyriakos. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to Dr. Ashwini Kumar. Dr. Ashwini Kumar Sharma is a computer science engineer from NIT Allahabad with professional experience of more than 39 years, which is a blend of R&D, industry, administration, skilling, entrepreneurship, and academia. He worked in R&D organizations like ISRO, Ahmedabad, Baba Atomic Research Center in Mumbai, and he worked in industries like Instrumentation Limited, Kota, Toshiba Corporation, Tokyo, Rajasthan State Industrial and Infrastructure Development Corporation, Jaipur, Software Technology Park, Jaipur and Jaipur Development Authority. He worked as the managing director for a period of 7 years at Rajasthan State Government Organization, now it is RISL, Rajcom, and supervised execution of multiple IT and e-governance projects. He worked as the Director General for 5 years of NIELIT, Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India, and supervised execution of multiple e-governance projects with major thrust on capacity building and skilling and running of formal courses in association with the respective state universities wherever the campus was located. And he worked as ex-vice chancellor of he was the ex-vice chancellor of Symbiosis Skills and Professional University, Pune, and he was the director general of Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies, Pitampura, Delhi. Currently, he is the pro-chancellor of Vijaybhoomi University, and he is a member of various committees of Ministry of Education, Government of India, UGC, FICCI, AICTE, Government of Rajasthan, and many more. And he has traveled widely, many countries, especially as a member of the Joint Working Group, Government of India. And he has more than 20 years of experience as an head of an organization, which includes more than 10 years in academic administration and skill development. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Sharma, today. Thanks for being here. And so finally, Professor Dr. Rajita Kulkarni, she is the president of Sri University. She represents Indian universities on the court of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, for the period 2022-2025. She is a renowned global thought leader and a transformational leadership coach who has trained over 1 lakh people the last 3 decades with over 1 million hours of leadership development experience. And under her leadership, Sri University has emerged as a global center of learning in India with more than 3,000 students, 400 faculty, and 46 programs and 23 research centers. And she's currently holding the following prestigious positions as well. She's the president of World Forum of Ethics in business headquartered in Brussels, a leading global board to create awareness and advocacy for ethics across all spectrums of life. She's a member board of governance, Sri University, chairperson of Sri Ayurveda Hospital and Research Center, trustee, Sri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir Trust, which runs 100 educational institutions in India, Nepal, and the Gulf, teaching education to over 29,000 students, and a member of the board of AOLHET, supporting the mandate of holistic education around the world. And she is a global board member of TLEX Institute, headquartered in Switzerland. And she's also an active member of various industry bodies like CII, FICCI, ASSOCHAM, and various national committees in all these bodies. And and she has led many leadership positions in Citibank in India and Asia Pacific region from 1992 to 2010. Warm welcome to Professor Dr. Rajita Kulkarni. Thank you so much for joining us. So for the next 1 hour, Dr. Sancheti will be moderating the session, and you'll be listening to the panelists. So in the last 15 minutes, we will take a few questions from the audience, and please post your questions in the chat box by mentioning your name, organization name, and the speaker's name to whom the question is addressed. Thank you so much, and over to Dr. Sancheti.
Thank you, Mr. Karthik. Thank you, CIPU, for this opportunity and calling all of us to discuss something very important as AI in education. I welcome all the participants who might have joined us online for this webinar, and we seek your participation. Please shoot your questions in chat box, and Mr. Karthik will probably accumulate them or assort them or whatever, and then share it with us in the end. As has been said, last 15 minutes would be earmarked for that. I also welcome very distinguished panel here, Professor Kyriakos, Professor Kulkarni, and Professor Sharma, who are all very well known in their field and particularly in the space of education. And we are discussing something which is touching everyone's life today, the element of artificial intelligence. Friends, today this is omnipresent. No one is who can very easily claim that I have not heard of the word AI. Even a small kid, a school-going kid, probably knows something or else about AI, or probably wants to talk about that or learn about that. AI is directly or indirectly contributing to our lives. Sometimes it is in the backdrop or background. But we as an educationist need to understand the dynamics fully and explain it to our students, train them, educate them, and do whatever. You can say that some time back, AI was a word which probably could have been associated with a little bit of hype. Some time back, maybe 4 years back, just before the corona. But after corona, you can possibly say that AI has come with a big bang. particularly with the advent of Chat GPT, as most of us have known, have tried to use it in some way or whatever. AI is a reality today. But historically speaking, I can say that AI possibly was something in the very simplest form, can be called as lookup table, where every condition of input was outlined and every possible condition of connected output was also understood. And homeopathy possibly is one beneficiary of that lookup table kind of a system. So it was a little crude, but it was a raw form of AI which was there, so that all the data is there and all the possible outcomes and outputs are also there. Then possibly came the expert systems, which were once again very important, which will probably do some of the designing by itself or some of the other things which were there. AI also came almost at the same time. I cannot really give the right timeline for that, but maybe 40-50 years back, AI also existed, but it was much ahead of time at that time. The world was not ready to provide the required data or process the required data or use the AI in the form it should be used. But fortunately, with many changes coming in the computing domain, computing world, AI has become a reality. Now it is going to be always going to be an essential part of life. If you see, maybe a century back, we had lot of mechanization, lot of you can say machines, and a lot of such systems were developed which helped the mankind with what you call the physical labor got reduced. The motors, the machines, the hydraulics and various things came into being, so our physical labor got reduced. I would say that 100 years down the line, now AI has come, which has potential to reduce the mental labor or intellectual labor, that you can do many things by using the equivalent of hydraulics or whatever machines in the knowledge domain. So we are in a knowledge society, not in necessarily the same 100 years back as the industrial one. And therefore, you can say that our use of our knowledge or intellect can be very well supported and augmented by the use of AI. That is the potential if you understand it in simple terms in the current context. So AI is going to be omnipresent, and AI is going to be invading in almost every part of your life. I think it's as simple as that. Education would be one which probably is not using it to the fullest extent. I would say education is the one which is yet coming on terms with AI. Though we teach AI, we do research in AI, but still it's not very well set in terms of what AI can do and should do and how it should be delivered and how people should be trained. I can say that if one has to look at what we call the students' benefit, which one can possibly draw, or how they can go ahead with the AI, I think language learning with AI can be fantastic. It can be also very good for what we call as a personal assistant for your education, in case you face challenges or in case you want to dig deep into certain things. It can act as your personal assistant and can answer you many basic things which are there. It can make you much more ready for the jobs, is what I can possibly say. It can also be very good for someone's personal health monitoring, or you can say mental health monitoring, or whatever such things can be done, because these are some of the challenges which a student face day in and day out. So there are many things which are there where students can be benefited. I'm sure the experts who are here with us today are going to discuss some use cases about what we call the potential of the AI which is there, and how students can be benefited out of that. There are many things which are associated with the so-called AI. I'd like to share a little bit of thing on the slide, which is talking about the potential of AI in terms of how people know about it and what they possibly know about the AI, and how it can be used, or what more can be done. So some useful facts, which is what I'm trying to present you. I hope you are able to see it. I'm just trying to make it full screen. And can you please by voice confirm that you are able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, perfectly. Perfectly.
Okay. Okay. So
You
some
only
useful
transform to PPT.
facts. Yeah, a small PPT, only just 3-4 slides. One, for the benefit of audience, I would like to say that AI has become very famous because of Chat GPT. But we should know that there were some concurrent versions or earlier versions which were probably known in different forms like Gemini, Copilot, or Bing Chat, or Semantic Scholar, or ChatPDF.ai, or Open Evidence, and things like that. They have been there, and some of the big players have probably developed them, including Google's and Microsoft's, and not only the OpenAI, which has done the Chat GPT. But I must tell you that today there are many more versions. Everyone is developing dedicated tools and support systems for AI. I work for Elsevier, and they have their own versions of AI where some special mechanisms and drivers are being used to make it more meaningful. So everyone is doing innovation, invention kind of a stuff when it comes to the versions of what AI services or AI support systems can be there. But an interesting slide is available here, is that the awareness of AI amongst what we call the users. And when I say users, I'm basically here referring to a set of researchers and set of clinicians. I particularly believe that medical domain will be the biggest beneficiary of what we call the AI. And
Dr.
therefore this
Sancheti,
research,
sorry to
yes.
interrupt you. Would you mind to move the slide? Because we can see only the first slide.
Oh, slide has not moved, is it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
let
only
me
we
just
could see.
see.
Yeah, now it has come.
Yes. Now we can see the third slide. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'll just make it this slide big one. Okay, you can see it, but not full screen, isn't it? Now is it full screen?
No, so I
Not
think you have to put it to the PPT mode.
It's not
Screen
going.
normal.
Wait. It's in the PPT mode only.
so that little wine glass in the bottom right, if you click that, it will expand.
I'm doing that. I'm doing that only, madam. Yes.
Okay.
Is it full now?
No, no.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, wait. Let me do another trick. I'll delete the first 2 slides. Now, please try if it is full now. Is it
And
full now?
not yet, but it's
Not,
visible.
not yet. But it is visible to us.
Okay, I'm sorry about that in case there is a challenge there. So here I just want to project to you that around 3,000 people were surveyed to check whether they are familiar with AI or not. Only 4% ended up saying that they are not familiar, and 85% said somewhat or a little familiar, and 11% said very familiar. So this is a statistics that even amongst the big potential users, 4% are not familiar with the AI right now. And those 96% who are aware of that, as you can see that 4% were not aware, 96% were aware. Out of that, you can possibly say that 54% basically, here you can see that 46% have not used the AI. 23% have used the AI for non-work, and 31% have used the AI for work. So this is the kind of thing which you can possibly say is the status of AI even today in terms of use. And of the 46% who have not used AI, you can possibly say that uh, in that number, almost 2/3 of the people are saying that we expect to use it within 2 to 5 years. And some of them, however, 33%, 1/3 are not sure about whether it can be used or not. However, when we find that who will be the people amongst the countries who will be more ready to use it in 2 to 5 years, China's response was found to be highest, India to be second highest. You can possibly see on the bottom right, and finally the USA. So these are some of the responses which a recent survey acquired basically and gave us the details in terms of what can be the status of the AI which is possibly there. All right, so I'll jump on to the next slide. Just a minute. Yeah. Is the next slide visible to you now?
No.
Not yet.
Still not yet. Okay, I
That's okay.
believe.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, is this okay now?
Yes.
Uh, yeah,
No,
I'm
No,
coming
no.
to the next slide.
Yeah.
Here you can say that some survey, once again, that survey which I was referring to, which is of a latest nature, Insights 2024, Attitude Towards AI, says that AI is expected to bring many benefits. And some of them are like this: 95% agree it will accelerate knowledge delivery. 94% say that rapidly increase the volume of scholarly and medical research. 92% agree that provide cost savings to the institutions and businesses. And then 87% says improve the work quality in overall fashion. But as we know, most of the technologies have the flip side also. So is the case with AI. And right side, you'll possibly be able to see there are multiple negative impacts which are also expected. And once again, the rating there seems to be high on the negative side also. 94% say that it can be used for misinformation. 86% says that it can cause critical errors or mishaps, particularly when it comes to some of the live things like aircraft and various other things. And then 81% says that it will erode critical thinking skills which are there. And finally, 79% say that it can cause disruption to the society. That every technology which has come, whether it's the nuclear or any other thing, internet or computing, it has been world changing. World changing things can be disruption. AI is in nature surely disrupting. We all know that, and therefore there can be something like that which can happen with the AI again. All right, so these are some of the challenges which AI says. And finally, AI is currently being loosely developed by many people, and therefore European Union had come out with some, EU had come out with some ethical principles, particularly for research related things, that what should be the ethical principles of AI systems. And these are about respect for human autonomy, prevention of harm, fairness, and explicability. And when it comes to the ethical principles used to develop these, some operational key requirements, some of the requirements are given in terms of privacy, data governance, transparency, diversity, environmental and social well-being, and so on and so forth, and accountability. So these are some of the things which are there, which are related to AI, my dear friends. What I would like to tell you now is that these are some of the basics which I have understood, which are impacting the educational and research world. When I say education, it's basically education, research, and training all are encompassed in that. So keeping that in mind, keeping some of these surveys or some of the basic informations which we have in mind, we'll now proceed ahead. I'll not take much of your time now. And I'll first request Professor Kyriakos to share his views on the important subject of AI, particularly related to education. And even in that, my suggestion would be that how do we go about making sure that what is of interest to the students and what the students can be benefited with. So, Professor Kyriakos.
Thank you, Professor Sancheti. You set the framework properly, and the fact that you mentioned the latest efforts of the European Union to regulate the sector is completely accurate. Currently, we are experiencing different efforts in different blocks of the world, from the United Nations, from the EU, even from China, to regulate the domain, although whatever we discuss today and even in the near future are just predictions and an open discussion, as this phenomenon, and I think we can say it is a phenomenon, is currently in development, and we don't know how it's going to be progressed in the near future. The thing is, I don't know if we all agree with what Bill Gates mentioned in the last couple of months, that potentially this is probably the third biggest revolution in humanity after information technology and computers and then the internet. Thing is very challenging, and what we're experiencing now, it takes much less time than any other previous IT development in the world. I will give you a brief example. In the beginning of the previous century, in New York City, when the council of the city decided to change the public transportation that they used to utilize carriages with horses to automate it via steam buses, it took less than 5 years to do that. So imagine. But now any change is what we call cataclysmic, and it can take up to a couple of months. So the world is changing in an incredible pace, and different processes are using technology more and more every day. And one of the most widely used applications of artificial intelligence that we know today, when they start developing from what we call chat boxes, is the simplification of employee tasks and office automation. But in the near future, robots will be able, like a writer, to produce articles or to create conferences or even educational videos. So the smarter AI becomes, the more advanced the new education system will be. So we can say that it's start integrating into a new system. So in this case, the educational method for each person may be different depending on his or her physical condition. So in other words, everything can be customized to the student or even to the professor from maximum results. And of course, the speed of teaching and learning and interaction with the teacher and access to answers in this intelligence education system will start increasing day by day. And of course, as you rightly mentioned, artificial intelligence is not just ChatGPT or the other software that most of our students know. It's something more wider and something that if it leads to the generative AI, that means the software itself to take decisions, then we're really talking about a revolution, and sometimes maybe with scary results. That's why we need to regulate this sector. So artificial intelligence provides a variety of facilities for students with different physical problems. The growing need to use the latest technological advances in student learning is accelerating at the same time their growth and progress, enable them to meet the challenges of this very competitive world. And we had this experience with the COVID-19 outbreak that, of course, many institutions and many colleagues, they really discovered what online or distance education is meaning. But at the same time, it provides us a solid base to start building on that and never return to this just physical teaching and face-to-face. So we have this blended, we have this mix, we have virtual reality, we have the extensive use of what we call in education Web 3.0 tools and so on. So both teachers and tutors, but also students have been trained in a new understanding of the use of technology. And for me, the important thing is we need to consider this as a methodology tool and not just a helping tool to make faster and perform duties faster. It's the methodology that matters, not the individual software, because the software can be developed, it can be changed, it can be upgraded. That's why I mentioned it's a new system, and it's a new system under development. Of course, there are constraints, there are dangers, but again, if we have a model and around this model, we build everything so that we can say, listen, physical location is not as important as it used to be in the past. And you can build your studies and even your preparation like you are doing with Lego bricks. So if you are an architect, let's say, and then you want to go back to the university and be a civil engineer because 30% of the curriculum is the same, then you can add these new modules or create and build something new. And since I mentioned architecture, imagine that in 20 years ago, architects used to draw everything, all the plans and the blueprints. Now they are using AutoCAD or they are using the relevant software of Apple. So different skills were required. So even the old type architect, let's say, they need to go back and retrain, and the use of artificial intelligence can make this faster. Harvard University made an interesting experience, and this is what I'm trying also to pass to our students. They asked certain number of classrooms to create and develop their essays using artificial intelligence instead of letting them do anyway, like lots of students are doing. So they ask them to do this on purpose, then come to the classroom and try to amend this to make them better and discuss in an open interaction with everybody. And this can add value. So there are ways to start integrating this new era. So I will stop here to give to the other colleagues the opportunity to participate as well to this very interesting question.
Yeah, so thank you for your initial remarks. We'll come back to you. I'll request Professor Kulkarni right now to share her views. She's very well experienced in this domain and also many other connected domains where education, not necessarily the formal one, but the informal one as well. Madam, please share your views and the AI case studies if you have.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sancheti, firstly, to CIPU for hosting this very important conversation. Shared my was already.
मैडम आप म्यूट हैं
Oh, were you able to?
Yeah, we lost your voice in between once or twice. Yeah.
The host muted me. Are you? Am I audible now?
Yes, very much. Yeah.
So I was saying thank you for your initial remarks and to Dr. Professor from Berlin for his remarks. And this is an evolving topic, as both of you spoke about. I think it is to the world today as internet was to the world in the late 90s. And I remember discussions at that time. We think of the world in 20. And that has happened, and we are there now. So I think this is a natural evolution of us as a humankind. And specifically to education, I look at AI, use of AI in three areas. One is what we teach about AI to our students. So whether it is the curriculum, the subjects, etc. The second part is how we are teaching it. So that is the pedagogy and all the other related matters. And third is how we use AI for educational institutional management. So whether it is assessment, tracking, campus management, and the like, these areas. So these are the three areas I think for us to look at, and therefore then to think of how we are preparing our students to become ready for industry. I was also reading a research yesterday which said that by 2035, which is not very far away, just about 10 years away, 9 to 5, 9 to 6 kind of jobs will no longer exist. Every individual will become an institution. So everybody will become a B2B rather than a B2C kind of a setup. And, already we are seeing hiring on skills. So I think educators and education leaders, that is something underlying for us to think about. Few practical things, Dr. Sancheti, I think all of us are starting and, making small inroads in how we are integrating AI in our institutions. A few examples I'm thought of sharing of what we are doing in Shri Shri University as practical examples, if that would be helpful. So first point is on curriculum integration. So during COVID itself, I mean, we are a fairly young institution compared to education institutions. And during the COVID time, we started a faculty of emerging technologies with the intent of bringing AI center of plate. So if we look at the topic of curriculum integration, all our science and tech programs have AI and ML as a credit, minor credit or major credit, but everybody has that. They made it now a sort of standard compulsory matter. Anyways, NEP has now recommended skill development courses, so that gets taken care of by that. So number one is curriculum integration. So all our, for example, BSc Computer Science, BCA, MCA, all these programs now have a AI credit integrated into it. The second is industry collaborations. So NEP anyways emphasizes on that. And leveraging from that now, we have industry integrated program. For example, we have a partnership with IBM Innovation Center for a created and co-delivered program on AI and ML. So it is co-created by our team and IBM team and co-delivered. And then, of course, the students have the benefit of getting some internships, apprenticeships, etc. with these partners. We also have a partnership similarly with CIPU. That is going to be, again, a very important area of focus for us, Dr. Sancheti, to bring in industry into our campus so that students can.
Correct.
The third is faculty development. We all discuss it at different forums that how do we help faculty get ready or become AI comfortable? You know, today we say AI may not displace jobs, but those who know AI will displace other jobs. So we are running FDPs. We are running a continuous sort of learning program to ensure faculty gets equipped with it. And I think this is going to be a continuous process. So that's the fourth point. But fourth is, we recently, Dr. Sancheti, did an MOU with Intel, and they have a very interesting program called AI for All. So they taken upon themselves some level of to create some level of advocacy and awareness of understanding AI deeper. So we have an MOU with them, and they have a very fantastic module, which is an AI polarization module, which is now being done by the entire student community and faculty community of the campus. And that will again be a continuous learning. So this idea is to build basic familiarization to everybody about AI, because this has become, it is, I think, very paramount now. That's the fourth. And the fifth is skill embedded sort of degree programs. So that is also, as you know very well, the focus in India. We recently did a partnership with NSDC and an AI company where students learn that as a skill and then do apprenticeship in these different AI companies to get real-time experience during the course of their program. So few tactical and practical sort of steps that we have taken, of course, a long way to go. So in terms of integrating AI, in terms of teaching AI, and in terms of ensuring that all students, irrespective of whether they're science students or medicine students or even arts and music and management, agriculture, architecture, across all faculties, get a familiarization and induction to basic AI. So that, I think, are some practical things we are doing. I think you asked this question that what could we do more? I think definitely there is a lot more we need to do in terms of using AI for institutional management, how we can use it for better assessment, how we can use it for more personalization of student learning. I think that we have to do more work. And very happy to learn some best practices from others. But I think a very good beginning has been, I'm quite confident that this will continue.
Great. Thank you so much for all those important initiatives which you are implementing and which all of us can probably emulate and follow also. And we'll probably discuss more about the future steps if we can, if time permits. I'll now like to call upon Professor Sharma, who has both worked in government as well as the education sector and has implemented a lot of IT-related tools, utilities, and services in various sectors. Professor Sharma, what do you think would be the benefit which will accrue to the education space through AI? Please share your views.
A very good afternoon to Professor Sancheti and all the eminent professors and experts. And of course, thanks to CIPU for giving me this opportunity to deliberate and discuss on the, talk of the town topic, AI. If you see, it is being even taught in schools also. At least my daughter-in-law also keeps saying, Baba, what is this AI? I think it has become a talk of town. And I think we need to understand one thing very clearly, the way we were worried about when we started using computers, there was a rumor and talk of discussion going on around the city that it will, decrease the employment or bank employees will be out of the jobs. But I think nothing has happened. So I will say that AI has emerged as a, formidable and transformative force. There is no doubt on that. It has got a potential of transforming traditional learning into an usher into a new era of personalized learning. And this is what NEP 2020 is trying to basically that it is student centric. This is what the NEP 2020 says, and this is what we are trying to come out with the implementation of the and this AI. Now it has got a capacity. There is no doubt that AI has got a capacity and capability to analyze vast data because it is basically based on computer, which is well known for handling the voluminous data. And once we are able to analyze the vast data, it become a data-driven decision resulting into innovation. This is a basic advantage of the AI system, which I feel which can be there in the education system. And as in the beginning, Dr. Sancheti said, it has got more importance or more practical usage in the health sector because there the volume of data is more than what we have got in the education system. Now, why it is so important? That is a second topic which I think generally when we deliberate or when we discuss, we come. So I think it will improve the learning outcome by providing, personalized learning. That is, it will become a student centric. Then it will also provide, assessment technology. That's the basic because nowadays you need to analyze and understand the different parameters of assessment. So it will provide a tool to us in terms of analyzing whether the speech or debate or competition, whatever it is. And then it will be a knowledge level and identify additional inputs. What are the additional inputs required by the student to take care of the system? Then similarly, it will automate the administrative task. That is the grading system, maybe data management system, whatever it is. And finally, it will enhance teaching proficiency because teachers or the academicians will get more productive time. If we see, I don't know, 40% or maybe 50% time is being used or utilized by the teachers or the faculty members, only the grading system, timetable and all these things. So that will be taken care by the AI-driven systems. And of course, it will lead to inclusive learning management. There's a basic impact by which AI is going to bring in the higher education system. Now, as far as as Dr. Kulkarni said very correctly, there are 4 or 5 areas where the AI will have a major impact. And one of them is on the education methods. And when I'm saying the education method, I'm trying to say it will lead to personalized learning system. It will use or utilize the power of natural language processing for intelligent tutoring. There's the second power which it will use. It will use the machine learning for adaptive assessment, as I said just now. Then it will automate the grading and feedback system. You will get the feedback. So the moment you pass, you appear for the exam, you will get the score. And then similarly, the AR and VR will be used basically to simulate the learning environment. That is a basic advantage it will bring now. Because you will be able to use the fact-based and simulated data for learning process, which will give you a better impact. Similarly, it will help us in student engagement. The student will get engaged. The moment he or she gets engaged, more productivity will be there. He or she will learn more skills. Similarly, there will be a self-efficacy and motivation to the students as well as to the teachers. Because they will be able to understand what is the real outcome, what is the impact they are going to draw. Of course, it will also have an impact in terms of educational data analysis, that what type of the level of learning we are going through, how to improve upon, what are the weak points which a student has to face, or the teacher has to give more attention on which weak points. Then, of course, it will help us in terms of intelligent tutoring system. So these are the few points which I feel will do. Definitely, one thing is very critical to be seen into that this AI should not lead to copying of the data, copying of the research or everything. That needs to be looked into because that will be the biggest challenge for everyone. Because now it will bypass many tests which we have been doing manually. So I think somewhere we have to look into that parameter or that constraint, how to ensure that AI is being used to the right use. And as Dr. Sancheti said in the beginning, that already some guidelines are there that it should be used to the put to the use of run the action in the groups of the human well-being. So I think that is what is to be looked into.
Great. That's very nice, Professor Sharma. Thank you so much for enlightening us with the benefits there. Particularly, the education methods would change, the learning outcomes will become possibly focused. As was said earlier, assessments and other things will also change, and overall, the engagement and motivation of students will also improve. Yes, we expect every time all technologies, when they come to fore, that they will do good to us. But anyway, we keep moving back and forth in terms of time, that something goes right and something goes wrong. However, this being so vast and so vastly rapidly growing, the challenges faced are much more. Many of us are still in dark. However, you also said, Professor Sharma, that it will be data driven. Yes, it is very well known that it has to be data driven. And therefore, there are many challenges. And in this context, I would like to once again touch base with Professor Kyriakos, if he's there. Professor Kyriakos, I'd like to know from you that data is the new thing for the world and certainly for the AI. We feel that there are a lot of challenges when it comes to data, particularly getting the real and qualified data, data generation, data being captured by various sensors from time to time, data also having sometimes past data in case it is fed. It is to do something with the inherent biases, and sometimes those things result in what you call hallucinations because of the data and so on and so forth. So AI has a lot of its dependence on the data. Would you like to comment how do we deal with this surge in data, data capturing, data storage, and possibly data processing? Professor Kyriakos, please.
Thank you. Well, that's a very big question, and we can discuss it for many hours.
Yeah.
A very important topic that is affiliated to what you just commented has to do also with ethics. And of course, probably you have noticed that in the last 5 years, there are many courses and programs around the world that has been developed in the area that we call data analytics. So it's not just very trendy or current, it's also something that companies, businesses, and educators are focusing day by day. Even the development of vaccines and all the data that we have now of these billions of doses around the world has created literally a new sector that started in the medical sector, but now it has been expanded also to banking, to blockchain, even to the metaverse, and to all these artificial intelligence issues that we are discussing. In my institution, we have developed a robotic teacher based on an artificial intelligence software that we have developed. And this robot accompanies a lecturer in the classroom using all the data that we have in the school of all the knowledge that we want to transfer, including definitions, electronic libraries, extracts from scientific journals, and so on. And in this way, we are trying to make students interact with the robotic lecturer and start exchange these let's say, opinions. But at the same time, the proper use of data in order to distinguish them from what we call today fake news or data that are falsified, it needs to provide us, and in many institutions, with what we call an internal security framework, so to safeguard what it reaches our students. And you know, everybody now is a doctor, is an economist, is a football coach. So the simplest task for all the students, including ourselves, is to Google something or try through a search engine to be an expert in anything. But again, at the same time, let's say that the human brain protects us from all of this. And at the end of the day, even if in robotic surgery, there is always a backup doctor, or there is a doctor that is in another continent and operates the robot itself. As I mentioned before, the day that a full robotic framework has access to all the data and at the same time it can take also decisions is something that we really need to be tackled by us. And as educators, we have the responsibility because probably we're doing the best profession in the world, but we have also the ethical duty to educate others on this because our motivation has nothing to do with profit, or we do not have a hidden agenda. So any kind of solution or any type of regulatory framework, it needs first to come to us. We should not leave it to politicians or to conglomerates or to multinational companies. And for
Great.
me, today we need to have 4 different aspects on this. First, to recognize and achieve goals and aspiration in response to all these new global challenges. And I don't want to bring you negative predictions, but I don't think that pandemic was the last pandemic that humanity will face. Then we need to enhance our knowledge and the knowledge of our students, because our student is going to be the leaders of not 20 years, but less than that, less than a generation, and give them a global perspective. Then we need to recognize that all of them, and including us, we belong to an international community. Of course, there is a critique that globalization has ended, but now we're in Industry 4.0. We are in what we call the meta-globalization era. There are conflicts around the world. We don't know what is going to happen also in the financial sector for the next couple of months, not just in the next couple of years. Still, as I said, we have the duty to educate people on this, and of course, to practice skills and creativity beyond our close environment, beyond the Indian Peninsula, beyond the European Union, beyond the Americas. So the proper use of data requires, first of all, for us to understand it, then build internal safety networks, and then educate students and colleagues.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Kyriakos. You raised many, many interesting points. Robotic lectures is what we hear these days. Someone who is accompanying teacher and helping students much more. Surely we need a clear regulatory framework. European Union case was one such thing. However, we don't have still very definitive things. And it's leading to meta globalization. And therefore, it is very, very obvious that the ethical issues come into picture. Ethical issues are every time extremely important, whether it was dynamite or nuclear technologies or space technologies, or even in internet, ethics was something very important. And that's where I think Professor Kulkarni would be able to help us, because Professor Kulkarni has worked in the related domain, and particularly with the Sri Sri University. Madam, my question to you is, people are worried about chat GPT like tools, that they lead to plagiarism, they lead to a lot of copying. Teachers are fearful of giving assignments which can be given answer within minutes, and teachers have not much wherewithal to really deal with those kind of challenges which are there. So ethics is something every time important for any technology, but with AI, it's much more because the speed is very fast. So can you share your take on the ethical aspect of AI? Dr. Kulkarni, please.
Yes, absolutely, Dr. Sancheti. I think that is, as you rightly said, any new technology, any new invention, I think comes with its own ethical concerns and constraints at times. So with respect to particular point you raised about ChatGPT, as we evolve more, we in education need to embrace it more than so instead of fighting it and saying, how can we make, I heard that some university has now gone back to, paper and pencil kind of a exam because they don't want students to access. I think slightly going back, this is their mistake. How can we embrace it to use it to our advantage? I mean, if we look back in time, every invention has helped us evolve as a humanity and helped us make our life more productive and better. So let us look at AI also like that. I recently, on a lighter note, read a quote where somebody said, I wish AI gives me more time to pursue my hobbies rather than taking away time, my job by, doing my own job for me. So I think we have to look at AI to productively improve our life and to make sure that it enhances our creativity, our intuition, innovation, etc. Having said that, few ethical concerns that I think
Yeah.
we always using out. One is, I think Dr. Kyriakos already spoke about it, is data privacy. That is a big matter right now, and I think it is evolving, but we have to be careful about data privacy. Number two are bias and fairness. How the underlying and sort of hidden biases are entering AI decision making, I think is also presents some ethical challenges. The third is transparency in AI decision making process. So, today we are still, if you look at ChatGPT, we are still in the time of data collection. I mean, the more we are feeding it, the more it is able to churn out, results. Transparency is going to be crucial. And lastly, I would like to say, how are we going to use AI for social good? End of the day, the technology is as good as the good it can result in. So I think a big area for us to look at how can we use AI for social good, how can we use AI and multidisciplinary approaches to look at improving education. So that's a bigger idea, I think, for us. And as I always say on every platform, no technology is good enough for us if it doesn't help us become happier and healthier. So how is it helping us improve our mental well-being, and how it is helping us make our campuses spaces for more creative deliberations rather than just becoming animals of sort of technology bondage, where we are completely in the warp of our phones and laptops and unable to conduct social conversations and social issues. So that is the concern to where we are.
Okay. Thank you, madam, for sharing your perspective on ethics. You certainly touched once again on data privacy and biases and fairness and other things, and also the potential for social good. I think your message is keep yourself positive, don't have any fear. Ethics will evolve and it will settle down, as has happened with most of the technologies. Even nuclear, there are protocols which are there now. Forget about nuclear, normal communication, satellite things can also be very difficult if protocols are not followed, because the strong signals can harm you. So yes, we'll keep it positive and make sure that we use it rightfully. We have shared many views about AI in education, like personalization of education. I think Professor, both of you shared, Madam and Sharma Sahab. Design and visualization aspects were shared by Professor Kyriakos. And there was a small mention of administration also. There was something more in terms of diversification or whatever. However, I'd like to touch upon three things now, and that will be directed towards Professor Ashwini Sharma ji. Number one, what might be the use cases? A hint from my side could be administration. Administration is a very difficult task, mainly for the teachers. It's generally observed that they are not necessarily good at it. For example, admissions. When you do admissions, you get so much of variety to scrutinize, assess, and then there are allegations that this has not been done fairly and all that. Do you think in administration, admission like thing, AI can be used? The same way the training is a very important aspect. Trainers are not easily available, and sometimes there are constraints of resources and timings. How training can be benefiting from AI? And lastly, research is again a most important integral part of what we call education. as we call education is information generation, information dissemination, and for information assimilation. So generation is nothing but research. So in these three domains of administration, training, and research, how we can draw benefits out of AI? Professor Sharma, your views.
I think very relevant question put up to me, because this is what is being expected from the use of the AI. Because all the three points which were mentioned, they all are basically data driven. For example, let's say our university, that is a Vijaybhoomi University, for development of courses based on new technologies, new concepts which are happening throughout the globe. Otherwise, we have to copy some from somewhere from the internet and go for the designing. And similarly, in our LLM foundation, which we have developed in house, we are trying to plug in the AI based student counseling system, where we are trying to give them input that which subject they should prefer based on their choice, which subject they can go based on the jobs being imparted to the students, or what is the need of the technology, or what is the need of the market. So, I mean, all data are being collected, they are being fetched into the system, and finally, based on the query of the student, they get answers. You should go for HR, you should go for law, you should go for music, or you should. So, what I mean is that definitely AI has been put to use for that. Now, as far as the administration part is concerned, definitely there's no doubt that AI is going to play a major role in the times to come, because we are short of good teachers. This is most important for us to understand. And we are putting all those good teachers efficiency in the in non-academic activities, which are of low relevance to academics, but of course more important to the university or the college in terms of that, because we keep collecting data in terms of attendance, we keep collecting data about their punctuality, we keep collecting data about their participation, timetable, and all these things. So I think once AI is in place or being put to use by the universities, definitely we can curtail this time which is being spent on administrative activities by the teachers to, I think, greater extent, and that can be given to teachers for more academic activities. They can give more time to their research, they can give more time to their preparing the lectures or preparing the new techniques for evaluations for making the student to understand. Now, secondly, as you said, is that since AI, again, I will come to data, because everything is concentrated, or you can say data is the backbone of all these activities. So again, research also will be getting benefited through use of, because you will be able to refer to many research relevant to the subject without going through the system. For example, let's say I want to understand what are the research being done in the case of optical fiber. So now I have to keep on searching. Now, in case I am able to use or deploy the AI, I think I will be in a better position to understand what are the things which have happened, how they are happening, and what are the new technologies which are coming in the market or which are likely to come. So I think I will save my time in going and searching the process, rather than through a click or button or maybe through a process, I will be able to get the data. And I think third, if I remember correctly, how to ensure that we are able to put it to the use in the benefit of the teachers or faculties. I think definitely AI will basically, become a learner oriented. It will give you more, tool to make you become a learner rather than, a teacher. What is happening is, we keep on teaching, but now we have to focus on learning process. I think that will give more impact and impetus to the learning process, and it will be an outcome-based education system. This is what NEP 2020 also target. Of course, AI will also lead to a problem that I feel personally, that it will lead to the destroy the consecutive development of the students. Some skill set will go away, because they will start copying, they will start downloading, they will start making. Now, for example, if I have to prepare a lecture for, let's say, some particular day, I need not to go anywhere. I just type on that, I get a note prepared for me saying this is what happened. Let's say 75वां Gantantra Divas, or let's say Independence Day. So I think that is the challenge which you have to look into, and this is where we have to play a major role. All those who are related to industry, IT industry, education industry, that we have to put it to the use. That way, it is more productive to the student and more productive to the teachers.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I think what you have said is it'll remove the element of what you call routine or manual tasks from the forte of what you call faculty or administration, and therefore it will give them more time for creative things, more time for research, and therefore it will be directly and indirectly benefiting that. I've known a little bit about some new changes which are there. We do a lot of Google search for anything which we want to learn. But with the help of AI integrating into that, it will not only tell you more about the topic, it will probably try to read your mind and tell you what more to ask as a question. So it will keep, and by the way, my own organization is developing tools of that nature for benefiting the academic leaders and the teachers and others, that it will keep prompting you what more can be inquired, what more can be checked, what more can be learned, and what is relevant to your topic. Sometimes our questions are vague, so AI can help us make it precise also. So that's very nice of AI to do that, because sometimes we are hitting in dark also when we are trying to know something new. The other case I've come across is one Australian young faculty member who was taking regularly a class of 500 students, and he was only probably 28, 30 in terms of age, and he very boldly claimed, using such tools, that he is able to give personalized attention to the students. Please remember that we have always talked about personalization of education. I, as a student, as Sandeep Sancheti, I can learn what I want to learn. But here is a teacher who is claiming that I can give personal attention to a student even if my class size is 500. So various gestures, facial expressions, social media captures what he writes, what he asks or she asks, and then what kind of mistakes regularly he or she makes in assignments and things like that. From all that abstraction which he gets through AI, a teacher can always guide a particular person very, very nicely. So I think there is nothing which remains untouched as far as AI is concerned in terms of its potential. However, we still have some confusions and some vagueness where and how we will find or what we should do with AI. So what I'll do is put some 4 or 5 questions. Your answer would be requested in bulleted form, yes or no, or one choice, if I may give some choice. Pardon me for doing it spontaneously, because I'm enjoying the discussion and I'm sure you two are. So if I may ask you one question, and once again, let the sequence be same, so I don't have to prompt. Let it be Professor Kyriakos first, and then Professor Kulkarni, and then Professor Sharma. So my first question is, which sector would be the prime driver of AI? Health, environment, education, research, or industry? I want one answer, sir. If you can give me one answer. Let's start with Professor Kyriakos. I'm repeating: health, environment, education, research, or industries. Out of these 5, which is your first choice, sir?
Well, it's a difficult choice, but let's say for the sake of education, not education, but research. Because research is a domain that all the other sectors that you mentioned can actually use a product of AI.
Oh,
And especially in regards to areas like, for instance, students with special needs. So in very specialized categories, research needs to come first. The
okay.
advantage of AI in research is that it accelerates the time that we need in order to have results, and then the cross-checking of results.
Oh,
And research that doesn't mean to evolve, let's say, Gemini software of Google faster or to create a better version. It means to accelerate time and to bring these results closer to us. For example, in special needs, and there is a reason why I'm saying this, deaf or hard of hearing students, visually impaired people, those that they have severe illnesses, we can adjust artificial intelligence software in the process of learning. Even when
okay.
we use virtual environments, like for
Okay.
example, Spatial or even Second Life in the past, there are students that they are a little bit timid or they are not so open, they are a little bit shy to participate.
Great,
But in
sir. Thank you.
departments,
Yeah.
they do. And that's why even modern psychologists, they are using this as a technique to have sessions.
Yeah.
I have the
So,
privilege of,
sir, we'll keep it short if you don't mind, and
yes,
because
so one
I
last
would have
comment
some.
is In another institution that I'm the Chancellor in Longford College in Ireland, we are developing a huge, let's say, data bank of artificial intelligence resources, and we offer this open to the students. So it's a huge repository.
Yeah. I'm
So-
coming to that question also, maybe next. So
then my colleagues can also comment on this, but the opportunities are great.
Okay, thank you. So you said education and research, Professor Kulkarni. Do you have a different answer?
Yes, I would say industry, health, research, education, and then environment.
You say industry will be the biggest beneficiary because they will deliver the goods and services, which will
Would you like
probably
me to-
establish AI.
Would you like me to speak about it? I thought
No, not required because we won't have that much of time.
Yes.
And Professor Sharma, what is your take?
Yeah, I will go back for health because I think this is more important sector for the mankind.
Which one?
And especially looking to the COVID which we have faced, I think AI can bring a drastic change in the health management system.
Okay, you said environment, did you, or something
No,
else?
health.
Okay, health, yeah. I personally believe that most of the technologies in the world, whenever they come into existence, is either because of the defense reasons or health reasons. AI in this case is not necessarily so big in the defense. It may be, we don't know, it may be secretly being done right now. But health is something which is very commonly known. But anyway, most of them are connected issues which are there. Now, the next thing is like internet, which is a much more open framework and you can possibly open source in terms of dissemination, accumulation, whatever generation. Should AI remain as an open source, or do you think AI will be in the hands of some giants like Google's and Microsoft's or others, maybe OpenAI themselves, which is right and why? Very small and very fast answer. Once again, start with Professor Kyriakos. Short answer, sir.
Well, I think the same that happened with the open source software, for example, in Office applications, it will happen with AI with a difference. So for me, in the next 5 years, there will be a base like as we do with platforms for Moodle or for platform or for Canvas that everybody can use. And then the real artificial intelligence will be customized by the user. So it will be something like a combination. It needs, I don't know if you understand what I mean. So to use the base, and then on top, each individual user can build his or her own artificial intelligence software.
Great, yeah.
Yeah,
so it's towards personalization anyway. Professor Kulkarni, please.
Yes, I would go for it being open source because if we want to enhance access, if we want to enhance affordability, and if we want to enhance decentralized reach, then it can only be done by open source.
Yeah, like internet is more like that, you can possibly say. Okay, Professor Sharma, please.
It should be open source, but of course with the support team to customize it out because that's the biggest challenge which we find in open source products.
Okay, great. Yeah. So the next point is about the databases because it's all going to be data driven. Professor Kyriakos raised the point about databases. We'll need databases with real data, with no biases and all that, and also for training and also for use. And data can come initially from some corner and it can have biases. How do you think databases can be made open for training? Can it be made open, or do you think data will retain the biases as some of us are perceiving it to be? Once again, Professor Kyriakos.
Well, I want you to think like we have a tripod with 3 components, 3 pillars. And I think we are living in this 3-pillar system that I will explain briefly now. The one are metadata, the others are cookies, and the third one are GDPR policies. And in all countries, in all sectors, if the one pillar prevails, the others are lower. So my answer is we need to survive and we need to find this explanatory and regulatory framework to be able not to allow each one of these components to prevail upon the others. because also we have this data protection via GDPR that we have in Europe and in other areas of the world as well. We now feel less secure and less private. And sometimes when you surf around the web or in the social media and you had a conversation 2 hours ago with a friend, suddenly a product appears. So it's also who is using all this data after we give our consent. Sometimes we don't realize it. So imagine if we project this to artificial intelligence and to education, what is going to happen? Somebody can detect or have the data that you are weak in mathematics, and in 1 hour you can have ads for personal tutoring. So if you project this with all these mega quantum computers and all this power that is coming in the next couple of years, it's a little bit scary. But still, we have the mentality currently to try and normalize this and find a balance.
Great. Thank you. Professor Kulkarni, what are your thoughts on open databases? Can everyone contribute and can everyone use it like some of the things which are required for other technologies? Your comments, please.
Like it is said these days, data is the new oil. Some people even say data is the current god. So I think data by itself, protection, consent, protection, transparent use is very critical. What examples Dr. Kyriakos already said, we are all experiencing it. We are being heard right now as we speak. My phone is with me and I'm very confident that I'm going to start getting some ads or even on Twitter feed of AI, etc. So we are being heard. So data as itself needs to be protected, but the learnings from the data, the outcomes, the learnings from the data, I think how can we have it democratized and available in a decentralized open form? I think that will be a challenge to look at.
Some refining process for data can be helpful to create those dummy training sets, learning sets, whatever. Okay.
Yes.
Professor Sharma, your views, please, on the same
I
subject.
think,
You have dealt with a lot of data yourself.
Yeah, perfectly. So we have to, come out with a framework and a policy to ensure that definitely data can be generated from any source, but the use of the data source has to be very, merit. This is what is more important. Otherwise, we have been seeing a lot of social media, YouTubes and everything. We could find that, a lot of things are coming up on the system, social media. So I think data generation can be from any source, of course, following a process and procedure, but data utilization has to be limited to particular application only, and that too with the permission of the user or the one who has generated the data.
Great. If they are willing to contribute, that's fine. There are a lot of people who offer themselves for medical trials. There are a lot of people who will allow their data to be shared for the benefit of the society. So yes, it should be like that. I come to my last question, and after that, it will be an open question with the audience. And my last question is about education. Since the topic is AI related to education, I've instantaneously generated this question for all of you. And first, the last question to Professor Kyriakos is, would AI or your robotic teachers replace the conventional teachers? Please answer yes or no, and maybe one line explanation to your answer.
Well, thanks for this. I can answer this positively because I'm already using that, and as I told you, we have developed robotic humanoids as lecturers. But my answer will be no. So we will not use that the same way that the robotic surgeon needs a surgeon. But modern education for me is a commodity, and that brings a stream of positive thinking that we need also to transfer to the software itself, because it learns from us. So I remember the famous frames of Alvin Toffler that used to say the illiterates of the 21st century will be not those that they cannot read and write, but those that they cannot learn again and relearn. And this applies to artificial intelligence. So they need to relearn sometimes. So what we need to do for this, we need to change from teacher-centered to student-centered learning, from transmission of knowledge to building of knowledge, and from passive and competitive learning to what we call active and collaborative learning. If we have three principles to transfer even to robotic teaching, then we will be fine.
Great, nice points made, and we understand. And there are many, many terminologies used like interactive and active learning and things like that. Sure, robots can facilitate that. Your take, Professor Kulkarni, on teachers being replaced by the robotic teachers?
So I feel AI will not replace teachers, but teachers will be replaced by those teachers who know AI. So I think that for sure is a embrace. We need to embrace new technology as we evolve as a humanity. And I think what will be replaced, Dr. Sancheti, is what can be automated or will be automated. Like today, if you look at the legal profession, IBM Watson has automated the entire draft reading process. So that entire category of jobs has gone out. So mechanical, repetitive tasks might get replaced, but jobs. I mean, the role of a teacher is to ignite curiosity, to ignite a sense of innovation, and to create that platform for intellectual, stimulation. And I
Great,
think for the near future that will be replaced.
great. Thank you.
I hope
Professor
it's replaced.
Great, thank you. Professor Sharma.
I think teachers cannot be replaced by AI-based teachers, frankly speaking, because I think the touch and feeling which you get from the teachers, that will never come through, AI-based teachers. Of course, they will be augmented in terms of databases and knowledge or the history which is being generated for the teachers who are really there to teach us.
Okay, great. So we are all teachers, so we are with you, Professor Sharma, that we should not be replaced, and we give that touch and feel. But I say a counter side. I asked you one side of it, would there be a robotic teachers? But my counter would be, and I'm leaving this as a question, no answers required. We shouldn't allow teachers to become robots, that they
Yes.
just do the mechanical things and they don't excite the world and they don't feel that they belong to this world. I think there are plenty of challenges with the technology getting developed. We'll keep discussing all those things from time and again. Now it's time that it's very short. Probably we can take 2-3 short questions. Mr. Karthik or anyone else from CIPU side, if he's there. And if you have some questions, please bring it to the attention of any one of us or all of us. Karthik ji?
Yes, Dr. Sancheti. There are a few questions. So maybe
Or questions, please let us know.
from Mr. Ajas Ahmad. So his question is, does the incorporation of artificial intelligence in education contribute to a scarcity of adept educators? I think that's what you discussed now already. So next question from Mr. Zaved Khan. Many universities globally, including Ivy League institutions, have already made prompt engineering a mandatory part of their curriculum. However, in India, we are still struggling with how to effectively integrate this into our educational system. What are the key challenges we face and how can we overcome them to ensure our students are equipped with these essential AI skills? And are we late in integrating AI into our education system in India? This is a question.
Okay. I'll leave it to one of the speakers to share it. Anyone who is ready? Yeah.
There is no major challenge in designing the courses and course curriculum or based on AI, because nowadays, every university has got a freedom to design its own courses. But the biggest challenge is the quality of the faculty and the experienced faculty. That's the biggest challenge. If you see even IITs and ISC Bangalore, they do not have the faculty who are basically very well with the AI. So that's the biggest challenge. Otherwise, course curriculum designing or adaptation of the courses in the field of AI is not an issue. Even in our university in Vijaybhoomi, we are running BTech AI and BTech data sciences also.
I just add to what Dr. Sharma said. It's absolutely right that there is no challenge other than capacity to teach. And that is where, Dr. Sharma, we can experiment with better and deeper partnerships with the industry to do collaborations for, co-creation of programs, co-delivery of programs, so that part can get, addressed. But building capacity for faculty is a very, very crucial issue. And Karthik ji, this is a request to CIPU platform that specially for such, emerging technologies, if we can even use the platform to do some capacity building, I think it will be a very, very welcome step.
Thank you. Kartiki, more questions?
Yes. So one more question from Mr. Siva Sharma from NIT Warangal. Personalized learning and learning analytics are the key components of AI in education. Will it not affect the development of human intelligence, especially in education? And does it not distort the cognitive learning of learner unless it is used in a careful manner?
Okay, once again, it's open. Professor Kyriakos, if you'd like to answer that.
I
or
can
anyone.
comment on this. Well, we need to approach this the whole domain and to embrace it, not to feel scared or not to feel that, okay, all these cognitive processes and learning process will be behind. And if our colleagues will fear that in our institution we'll start integrating more software and more robotic teachers and many other things, and their jobs will be jeopardized, and this will move us towards the wrong direction. So we need to embrace it. We need to use it productively. I will give you a brief example. In my institution, we have developed, apart from the robots, also a hologram. So when, for example, we want to teach Second World War history, we have the hologram of Winston Churchill discussing about this and interacting with the students, like they're having Winston Churchill in front of them. This is how we embrace it. So we don't substitute the lecturer with a hologram, but it's part of us. So the cognitive process in particular, using the hologram because it's 3D, it's much more effective than me starting reading some extracts from Winston Churchill, if you understand what I mean. So again, it has to do with what I told you before about the methodology. So we need a model and we need to have a strategy. Otherwise, we're just following the developments. So we are educators, we need to be part of that.
Great, yeah. So, Professor Sharma, I think a small addition to your answer. When the machines came, they didn't make us physically unable. They empowered us. We did other things to retain our physicality or physical ability. In the same fashion, when AI comes, it will not take away our power to intellect or the processes related to mind and its ability. It can facilitate rather than doing the routine chores. It will facilitate us to do something advanced, and therefore we'll have to adopt and accept this technology with let's say openness, but with some sort of a control also. Anything which goes at high speed has potential to derail in terms of speed, I'm saying, and therefore let it be controlled and done in a certain fashion, fitting to a given space or a domain. Friends, time has come that we'll have to conclude it because we can't overrun. I'll only conclude by saying one sentence that AI, in my opinion, will facilitate holistic and equitable, you can say, world if it is implemented properly. That's my understanding of the potential of AI. With this, I would like to close the deliberations we have had in this webinar. My thanks to CIPU and all the very distinguished experts for their very clear and quick and useful opinions and views, and all the participants for their questions and their participation.
Thank you to all the participants for joining us today.